The DJ accepts no responsibility for the next record.
Say what? Oh no, he's there. Where's the money, man? Where's my money?
It's time to man up, America.
Let's do this.
All right. The good Dr. J. Adam in studios here at WTNB right here in Cleveland, Tennessee. We are being simulcast on Talk 101.3 The Buzz, 101.3 FM. That's WTNB 27.1 on your digital TV dial. You can also catch us on Charter Channel 5 and Comcast Channel 210. So, I had the distinct privilege this morning of joining the Yahoos here at WTNB in their collectivity on the morning show. And I say Yahoos with a term of endearment. Josh, our producer Josh is in the room. Hi, Josh. How are you doing?
Hey, Adam, how's it going? Thanks for being there.
You didn't realize you were going to be on the show just now, did you?
I did not.
You're over here pro-presenting.
I should stop chewing gum.
You should probably, that's probably what should happen. So I enjoyed being on the morning show this morning, and it kind of became the midday afternoon show. I think it kind of ran long, but I didn't know what to expect. You had some great guests on from Free to Fly, and then one of our local attorneys, Jim Logan, was on providing his political analysis of the presidential race and WikiLeaks and doing what Jimmy Logan does best.
Jimmy explained to us that according to CNN, they're saying that only the press is allowed to see the WikiLeaks because it's illegal for the common folk, such as us.
Us common people.
Jimmy explained to
serfs.
us that
The serfs cannot see what the masters see.
Yeah, that is actually incorrect.
That is incorrect. CNN is incorrect.
I think that's
Is that what you're saying?
the first time this year, though.
Have you that CNN has ever been incorrect about anything?
Yep.
Cable News
This year.
Network was incorrect about something. Imagine that. You know, Josh, we took that up yesterday. We manned up on that in yesterday's show and called our illustrious district attorney, Steve Crump, and he gave us his 2 cents on the matter. He said that it wasn't necessarily a difference between what the media could possess and we could possess, but he did go as far as to say that to possess or to be responsible for disseminating classified information is a prosecutable offense.
That's what I've heard as well. It's what I've always believed. If you have that information that's classified or supposedly only privy to the government, that if you make that available to other people, you're breaking the law.
Breaking the law. So, yeah, everybody, every time you hear breaking the law, y'all know you're like me. You hear the song in your head. Breaking the law, breaking the law.
That's why I said it.
Yeah, that's why you said it. Okay. We might throw that little sound bite in from now on when we refer to WikiLeaks. But Steve Crump said something that I thought was very insightful. Of all the things we talked about, when he said this, it hung with me more than anything else. He said first that there's a way to get information like this, a legal means through Freedom of Information requests.
FOIA.
Yeah, exactly. That happens on a local and a federal level. But he said what we all really know, that the 24-hour news cycle is less about dissemination of information and has become extremely irresponsible in the quest for ratings and advertisers. He kind of called the media out saying, listen, Chris Cuomo, I know that you want to say that you're privy to these documents and yada, 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 but it's really just about preserving your brand and yada and this and that and something else. And so he just kind of said, the media is irresponsible. This is no longer responsible reporting. They're grabbing at whatever gets them ratings and at the disinterest of national security.
And on CNN's defense, it's not just them.
So you got the memo saying please defend other media outlets, please defend.
No, I
you're
think
right.
that
It isn't
all of
just
them
them.
are participating in ratings grab.
Oh yeah,
as priority, and then information.
Josh, we are participating in that ratings grab right now.
No,
Let us know you're listening or watching manuptalk@gmail.com or find us on Facebook.
Facebook.com/manuptalk. No, I just thought it was very insightful for Steve. So,
Yep.
But you guys had us back on the morning show. We talked a little bit about the WikiLeaks thing. We talked a little bit about the political side of things. And I got to see the wonderful materials that Freedom to Fly is going to be selling at their upcoming event.
Yeah, you joined us for that. We threw you a curveball because we talked about we would have you on for WikiLeaks, and then we came and had purses.
Yeah, you surrounded me with like the effort. You put the Man Up America guy right in the middle of Free to Fly, the women's movement, nonprofit,
The women's
benefit
nonprofit that
and
makes handbags.
I wasn't necessarily out of place, but I think I did kind of shock them when I said, "Oh, this purse is great. It actually will hold a concealed firearm."
That's a great idea. Jokes aside, they should look into that as far as
I told
making-
her, I said, "There's a huge market for that. Huge market. If I'm going to buy a purse for my wife, I want to make sure she can carry her firearm
Right, and it needs to be easily accessible,
easily accessible."
but concealed.
For ages, all of those things were ugly. Fashion has entered that market, and there are a lot of people who are producing fashionable products for women.
Say all of those
that are
things were ugly?
considerate. No, in the past.
Okay.
The things that you were able to have a convenient concealed weapon
yeah.
in.
The old ideas.
They were real utilitarian, no fashion to them. Well, that's changing. People are starting to make very fashionable products for women for concealed carry pieces. We may even take that up in one of our future firearm shows.
Yep.
So, very excited about that. But, hey, thanks for having me on the morning show. I did say, we didn't get to it in the morning show, but I did make you a promise yesterday that I would reveal exactly how I got the name The Good Doctor.
Yeah, we're all ears.
Are we?
Yes.
Do we really care? Because it's not the most impressive story.
Well, it has a story, so
It does have
any
a
story's
story.
better than no story. Right?
Number one, when we decided to do Man Up America, I chose to hang with the Good Doctor nickname that I received, mostly because it's the most appropriate nickname anyone's given me. Of all the others, that probably would need to be. I've been called much worse.
Is it the only one you can say on the air?
Probably. I mean, depends on who you're talking to. One of my buddies. So most of my friends, including my political friends on the county commission, are raggers. They like to rag you. Everybody rags one another, so you give everybody a hard time. So when I decided to go back for my PhD, they had a field day with this, particularly one particular county commissioner who's a friend of mine, who remains nameless, who currently
Well,
works
you have
as the
to
chief
name them.
deputy at the sheriff's department.
Well, you've noticed in our local government that you can say remains nameless, but it's going to be about 2 or 3 days, and
And then the
they're gonna
banner's
do
going to release the headline.
Well,
so
no, the commission the other day listed all the people who they could name without
right.
naming the one they couldn't name, and then by process of elimination, hey, wait a
there
minute,
you
we got a
go.
name.
Deduction.
So do we need
right?
to do that with your commission friends?
No, we'll just say Jeff Yarber and Brian Smith
Okay.
created this fiasco, and Jeff Yarber's kind of kept it going. But I mentioned I missed a meeting. I'd been on the commission for about a year. I'd missed a meeting, and one of them said, "Hey, where were you?" I said, "Well, I started my PhD program this evening." They said, "Really, your PhD?" I said, "Yeah, I'm getting my doctorate." To which it immediately became like, Fletch, doctor, hey, how are you, doctor, doctor, And then somebody said something to the phrase, "I think you'll make a good doctor. I'll be one of your patients." And then, of course, I'm like, it's not a medical doctorate. It's another doctorate. So then it's like, oh, you can be a doctor in anything, right? So then the joke became, evidently onlookers and listeners to that, not only referred to me as the good doctor from that moment forward, but still to this day proceed to give people my cell phone number anytime they have an obscure problem or question, and I get the inquiry. So I've had people call me going, "Hey, doctor, can you come over and look at my divorce papers?"
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an attorney. "Hey, doctor, my recliner's broken. Can you?" And I get these phone calls. So it's this ongoing joke. So
At least
there's
it's
the
not
good
for,
doctor.
True physical ailments like a
No,
like a
I've gotten
rash
those too.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Did you ask them to send you a picture?
went down and like, "I've got this bunion and it really hurts, doctor." So what's funny is this has been going on for 5 years now. I've kind of become an expert in all things trivial because I feel compelled to come up with an answer for somebody. So, "Hey, where do I get this fixed? I got this recliner that lifts me off the ground." "All right, give me a little bit. Let me call somebody, and I'll figure it out and call them back." But that's ultimately how I earned
So
the label the good doctor.
The moniker is appropriate.
The moniker is appropriate. Although I do have to constantly remind people that I'm not yet a doctor.
Still working
Not
on
yet
it?
a doctor. I defend a dissertation in the spring. My real doctorate is in education and public policy.
Okay.
But
Which
I
is
get
completely
calls
useless.
about bunions and somewhere former commission friends and are laughing every time I get one of those phone calls.
Okay. We got it. We'll work on getting you some graphics there that
That's
says doctor.
yeah, okay.
Good doctor.
I'm just not going to allow them to have the power over me anymore. I've now embraced that term
Sure.
for this radio show. Well, Josh, you what I was fixing. I wanted to say something about the morning show. I encourage people to tune in. That comes in at 9:00.
Yes.
Right?
Monday,
Okay.
Wednesday, Fridays for now. We're going to be adding Tuesdays and Thursdays soon, and we're going to do 9 to 11.
Now, for our radio listeners, this is on WTNB. This isn't
Yep.
on 101.3 The Buzz. We're the only simulcast show right now on 101.3 The Buzz. But great show. Tune in. They've got a lot of local folks that come on. I enjoyed being on. Thank you guys for having me this morning.
You're welcome.
And hope we can do that again soon. So today, for today's show, I've told you we're going back to youth sports. Last Thursday, we manned up on youth sports. And we had some questions. We had some questions about the new. We led that program with an article that talked about Tommy John surgery and the change in regulations with regard to youth sports agencies and health. I saw another article this week posted about how the NBA, in conjunction with other youth organizations, has now released a recommended coaching and athletic schedule for young players, and it's pretty nice. USA Basketball, they released kind of for this age range, this is what's an appropriate amount for practice time. This is how many games a week is an appropriate amount for this age group, and it kind of graduates up as you get to high school. It's the first time anyone's really put forth standards to say, you know, it really is too much to ask a 6-year-old to practice basketball 4 times a week and to play 6 games. And we saw that with the kind of the ruling that came down that said, no, you're not going to overpitch pitchers in baseball. So there's some attention towards the safety and health of youth on the other side of sports,
Rightly
and
so.
putting that right above competition.
Right.
But we finished that program with a very open dialogue about our local youth sports basketball program. The Cleveland City Youth Hoops League has decided to create their own independent basketball league, and we're going to give those folks an opportunity. I'm going to call Coach McCown here in a little bit and give him a chance to tell us a little bit about Cleveland Youth Basketball Organization, and I'm going to ask him some very direct questions about why the city schools and this new league chose to eliminate competition with their county counterparts. I'm going to ask them very clearly, have parents been told that if their child wants to play at the middle and high school level, that they must participate in this Cleveland League? I want, if that's a rumor, I want to dispel it.
Sure.
And then on the back half of the hour after the break, we've got Andy Lockhart from Bradley County Parks and Rec, who runs our county league, in to talk a little bit about what's happening with the county league, how the Cleveland City's decision to take on their own league is going to impact the county league, if at all, and to lay to rest some other rumors related to that program.
Good. I'm excited to see and hear this because I'm affected. I've got a kid playing, and I live a block from school that I can't practice at because we've got a city team playing the county kids.
Who consumes the gym, and you're not allowed to use the county gym.
Yeah,
Or the
well,
city
I'm
gym.
going to be playing county kids, but my city kids can't use the city gym to practice in. So, I want to figure out what's going on here. I don't have anything to say
Something's
beyond
afoot.
that.
Something's afoot. We're going to find out. We're going
Yeah.
to get to the bottom of it. So without any further ado, I'm actually going to go ahead and call Coach McCown here. Hopefully we can do this without me having to go back and forth between speakerphone like I did yesterday. Coach McCown is with Cleveland High School and has been a big proponent of this Cleveland City League. And for those of you who want more information on that league, there is a website. It looks like it's called clevelandyouthhoops.com. So let's call Coach.
Let me know if you need any help as
Gotcha.
far as technically, because I'll have to call somebody and ask them.
Hello?
Hello, Coach.
Hey, man.
This is Adam with Man Up America. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. You're live on WTNB and Talk 101.3 The Buzz right now. And we started last Thursday with a special on youth sports, talking a little bit about the changes in regulation with baseball and how coaches are going to have to pretty much train more pitchers now, and how that's protecting player interest. Any thoughts on that? Anything you've seen that's come down directly from TSSAA?
I've not seen anything come down directly from TSSAA in terms of, the restrictions that they put on us. They actually opened up July to where we could practice more. I'm actually not a proponent for that. I feel like kids need to have a summer. I feel like, sometimes as coaches, if we do too much, then we're taking, I guess, the fun out of the game. And, the big thing for me is always trying to find out what's going to motivate our athletes the most. And I think at first glance, you would think more. And the stuff that I read the most says we need to back off a little bit more and let them enjoy not only their high school experience, but, their family time as well.
Well, and not burn them out too soon.
Sure.
I was one of those. I loved baseball, but in my middle school years, I played way too much, and by the time I got to high school, I was tired.
One of the best examples I have ever been told about with burnout was, as a kid, you go in your backyard and you run around in a circle, and the adults kind of screw it up because they go back there and they want to time their kid on how fast they can run in that circle. Well, then you get a neighbor that comes over and says, well, my kid's faster than your kid. Let's race them. And then the next thing you know, the kids aren't having any fun running around in their backyard anymore.
Yeah, it's all about the competition.
Yeah, no question. And so that was, I'd been given that example. Our area FCA director, Robert Green, and I have shared about that many times. And, then I think about the sport that I coach in basketball. And so when I put a practice plan together, I really try to think, is this going to be a drill that can not only teach our kids, but capture their attention and make it relevant, but also make it fun as well. I would hate to think that I would be a coach that would take the fun out of the sport. That's something that I honestly fear.
Coach, last Thursday, I spoke openly about my personal experience with youth basketball in Bradley County and how for the past 4 years I've had the privilege to coach a school team, a competitive team. And I'm not coaching this year because of the age of my son. He's now in middle school. But how in coaching a county team, how I really enjoyed the interaction with the city coaches and even having the opportunity to coach city kids and all-stars and in other things. Tell me a little bit about why you chose, and I know it's not just you, but why the city of Cleveland chose to bifurcate youth basketball and do a Cleveland Youth Hoops League.
Well, there are a couple reasons, and you can blame a lot of this on me because I was the one that started this discussion before the dome went down.
Okay, I'll give out your cell number right after the program, Coach. No, I'm joking. Continue.
We have had, quite a bit of pushback on it, and I appreciate the question. I've talked at length with people that, coaching in this area is pretty tough, but when you have a rivalry, you need to appreciate it because a lot of people show up at the game. There's a lot of interest. I've been at schools where you didn't have a rival and people didn't show up. But back to your question. One of the things is it's really tough for high school coaches to be as hands-on with their younger kids and be involved in the development of the game unless it's in close proximity and you are intentional about being involved with it. And so the idea of the arena being built, the size of the arena, which is 9,000 square feet on the playing surface. We can play 2 94-foot games. We can raise and lower the goals as high and low as we want to, and be able to have them playing here once a week. And I have listened to podcasts, shows like yourself about being burnt out, and looked at studies to see That if we're playing too many games and putting too much importance on those games, that it will lead to burnout. So that's kind of a two-part answer. One, I want to be more involved and have our players more involved, because those are kids that the younger generation looks up to. We've kind of removed them from that scenario. So it's a way for us to put them in that situation to develop relationships with our younger kids. But then also, we're looking at, once they play the tournaments, 14 to 18 games, we want those games to be important, but I don't know if a second and third or fourth and fifth grader really understands what the rivalry is. I get to see the pressure of that rivalry put on high school kids, and it's not an easy thing to console a kid that has to go home and hear that they're not good enough in the own town that they live in. And so it's a reality that we have to live in, and we try to help our kids with those rivalries as best as possible. One, you're not the greatest thing in the world if you win, but you're not the worst thing if you lose as well. So those were the intentional thoughts behind us creating our own league that will be played in our facility.
Okay, Coach. So you kind of brought up two main points to why you chose to do a city league. Well, three. Let me say 3 points. One was to have intentional involvement from the high school down into the younger ages.
Sure.
The other was the use of a beautiful new facility that you have there at the high school, which, as you noted, can accommodate more than the previous facility. And the third being kind of burnout and stress on the kids with regards to how much they play.
Yep.
Follow-up question with that. Could all of that have been achieved? Could you have formulated how you structure teams out of the city and still preserved competition with county schools?
It's a great question, and one that probably down the road, I think something that we can look at, because I've been asked that question quite a bit. Is there a way to incorporate that throughout our meetings that we've had? We've just gotten to where we have a substantial amount of kids that have signed up for the league. There's been quite a bit of pushback, but I think as we learn and grow and move forward, that's stuff that we will look at. Obviously, this year we won't be doing that, but I think it's something in the future that could possibly grow into.
Okay. We've had some.
I'll say this: I'm definitely not against anything that's going to help our kids in our whole community. This is not something where we want to just, we've been told you're, not creating opportunities for all of our kids. We want to create. We think the county league does a great job in what they do. I have no involvement with our county parks and rec. I have no involvement with our city park and rec. And so this gives us a chance to be involved. But then in the future, we might be able to grow into that.
Okay. Some of the criticisms that we have heard from parents and arguably some of the coaches, one has been that the interaction between the county and the city, there's so much, so many fences there already in our community, and this appears to be one more. You kind of explained that maybe in the future that fence might come down, so that's really encouraging. There are coaches who are currently formulating teams with city kids that will continue to play in the county league, correct?
Sure, yes.
And is it true that they're not being allowed access to city gyms for use for practice?
For the use of our facilities, which is, a big concern in our school system, let's say the Cleveland City school system, in terms of use of those, what our system has come out and said is that they are supporting the Cleveland Youth Basketball League, Cleveland Elementary Basketball League. I get youth involved in there because that's our website, clevelandyouthhoops.com. And that those facilities are open for that league to be used. We had at length conversation with all of our principals, and what this comes down to, and the county league has to deal with this as well. anytime that you open your facility, there needs to be an employee or an administrator at those places. Weekends, holidays, weekdays are a little bit tough after school. At high schools and middle schools, they're going to be used. There's always going to be an employee. For example, myself, I'm a teacher at Cleveland High School, so I'm always going to be here when we're practicing. When you get into the elementary leagues, that's not always the case. So it was more of a supervision and safety standpoint where it came from our school system in terms of those facilities. If something were to happen now in our league, it would be falling on the shoulders of Coach Williams and myself. It's a pretty big responsibility to take, but we feel like it's worth it.
So you mentioned that the system has kind of endorsed your new league.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that the teams that are choosing to play in the county are in essence unsanctioned?
Well, we don't have a sanctioning like governing body.
I use that in its colloquial sense.
It would not be supported, I guess, would be. They wouldn't have access to the gymnasiums. If they were going to play in that league, then they would obviously have to find a gym that they would need to practice in.
Okay. And last big question, which is, it's rumor based, but if there's any way I can help dispel this rumor, I want to. The big concern has been that some parents believe or have been told that if their child does not choose to participate in the city-sanctioned league, that they will not have future opportunities at the middle and high school level. Is there any truth to that?
Well, that's the first time I've heard that rumor, and I'll tell you, I've heard 1,000 of them. And that's the first one I've heard. I'm thrilled that you even asked it to me, though, because like I said, I've not heard that one. There would never be a situation where if somebody did not participate, and I'll give you this example. If a kid did not participate, he does not go on a list that says, don't let him play at Cleveland Middle or don't let him play at Cleveland High School. In fact, this is not something that is driving the kids towards one school. We started a fast break basketball club about 5 years ago, to where all we do is train kids in 7-week sessions. The majority of those kids are living in our county and playing at county schools, but they're just taking the advantage of getting individual training from Reggie Tucker. It's about $10 an hour. If you went to Atlanta or another city, it would be anywhere from $40 to $60 an hour. And so what we want to do is we want to create more opportunities in terms of skill development and having fun playing the game, and hopefully dispelling a rumor that we would ever not let a kid participate at Cleveland Middle or at Cleveland High School. I'll tell you this, and this is as honest as I can answer this question. I enjoy winning. I actually hate losing more than I enjoy winning. And I would say every coach that I've ever been around, competed against, competed with, if kids can play and man, they're good kids and play hard, I don't think it wouldn't matter where they played their elementary basketball at. You would just hope that they got a really good fundamental base and a great experience wherever they play.
Coach, you've been forthcoming and helped us in a lot of ways here. We thank you for your time. Anything else you want to say before we get off? I know the website. Say that one more time and tell us about your upcoming tryout.
Yeah, it's clevelandyouthhoops.com, and it does have 2 H's right in a row, so that's YOUTH and an HOOPS. We have a open period of kind of like an open gym type where we will let them shoot and play, and we go through a few drills this Sunday from 2:30 to 4. We have evaluations next Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The 2nd and 3rd grade boys and girls will go on Monday. All of our information in terms of time how much it costs and everything is on that website, clevelandyouthhoops.com. I can't stress enough how much I appreciate you asking some of those questions. I feel free to answer any questions that anybody has for it. But, again, our biggest thing, one, we don't want to get into the burnout factor. That's a really slippery slope that the sport and a lot of sports are going down right now. And we just feel like some of the kids that we've had, even in the past 10 years, that by the time they get to a higher level, that their skill level is not what it is across the state. And we feel like we are the ones that coach at the high school level, and we should have a bigger influence in helping that skill level increase across our entire community. If they come to Cleveland High School, that's going to be great for me. I'm not going to work here forever, but it's also just going to increase the competition and the amount of kids that are playing the game across our whole area. So we're excited about it. We've been very excited about how many have signed up, and we're looking forward to the ones that show up, that we coach them and help our coaches as well, which is something we haven't done in the past.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
All right, you heard it from the coach. It's very comforting. Parents, if you live in the city, pick a league. City league, county league. There will be no repercussions. To quote the coach, there will never be a situation. I said that about football, and I knew that wouldn't happen at the middle school, and Coach dispelled that in basketball. When we come back, we're going to have Andy Lockhart from the County League to talk a little bit about the basketball league there. You're listening to Man Up America. The good Dr. Jay Adam here, talking to all the gentlemen out there. For those of you with wives, girlfriends, even mothers, which would make all of you, you need to call 423-472-8887 and talk to the good folks at Bliss Day Spa. Nothing says I love you like the special treatment, the VIP treatment of the services of Bliss Day Spa. Call them today, 423-472-8887. Tell them the good doctor sent you from Man Up America.
So, how's the new job?
Love it. But it's not just a job, it's a career.
Life insurance? Love?
I told you Woodman Life is really active in the community, right? They support all kinds of community improvement projects. How's your job, by the way?
Don't ask.
Begin your financial career today with Woodman Life by calling 423-790-2847.
Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society of Omaha, Nebraska. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations. Woodman Life has been keeping its promises to members for more than 100 years. That means we've survived the Great Depression, Black Friday, and all the other ups and downs our economy has faced. In good times and bad, we're strong and stable. We're an organization your family can count on. At Woodman Life, we've always believed that slow and steady really does win the race. Our conservative investment philosophies are just one part of the strength of our organization. What really makes Woodman Life strong is the trust and loyalty of our members.
Contact your local Woodman representative today by calling 423-790-2847. With 3 offices serving Southeast Tennessee, your Woodman representative standing by to help you.
Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society of Omaha, Nebraska. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
Are you looking to refinance your home, or perhaps you're in the market to actually purchase? Take it from the good Dr. Jay Adam. There's no need to go far and wide to look for mortgage help. Call 339-8086, Home Mortgage Solutions, LLC, right here in Cleveland. Their team's prepared to help you with lending, with refi options. Just give them a call, 339-8086, and tell them the good Dr. Jay Adam sent you. All right, and we're back here live in the studios at WTNB, simulcast on Talk 101.3 The Buzz FM. Once again, you can catch us digital TV station 27.1, Charter Channel 5, Comcast Station 210.
We're manning up on youth sports. We started this last week, and when we started last week, we talked a little bit openly about not only youth development and safety, but we kind of brought it back here locally. And in the studio with us now is Andy Lockhart. Andy runs our county parks and rec department and facilitates a lot of those youth sports. And Andy, we just had on the phone Coach McCowan from Cleveland High School explaining a little bit about the City School Basketball League. But before we get to that, we started last week and we led with this article that some of the youth regulatory agencies related to baseball are starting to say, all right, there needs to be a pitch limit on pitchers. Now, you were a baseball player, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you say you saw people over-pitched when you were coming up through baseball?
Yeah. Just depending on situations and coaches, yeah, that definitely happens. I would say it probably happens a little more in once you hit the high school level, because those games matter a little bit more. But at the youth level, you're probably going to get guys pitching more because they only have a handful that can throw strikes. Now, I coached college baseball for about 10 years, and our pitching coach was always had his clicker out, and he kept a pretty close eye on that. And they didn't let starters get over 100, very far over 100, until late in the year. And I know I coached my son's 11 and 12-year-old team this year, and I kept a clicker. And I knew when those 11 and 12-year-olds got to about 50 that they were pretty much
the balls abound.
They're
shortly
going downhill
thereafter.
fast from there. So I've looked into some of that stuff. A lot of it's come from actually Major League Baseball. We are a Dizzy Dean affiliated baseball program. They actually work off of innings right now, but I've been looking into the pitch count.
There's a lot of pitches in youth ball in one inning.
There's a lot of balls in youth
yeah,
ball.
even though you kind of cap how many runs and things like that. Well, we played a clip of an interview with a friend of mine who's the bullpen coach for the Colorado Rockies, Darren Holmes, who pitched 12 years in the league for the Atlanta Braves, for the Yankees, for the Rockies, and now is the bullpen coach. And it was interesting to hear him say what he had to say about youth development in sports. And he said it really, at these young ages, you're not going to know whether someone's going to play at the next level. When he says the next level, he means college.
Yeah.
He says there are kids who just aren't going to make it, and it's kind of laughable to watch parents who think their 9-year-olds destined for the major leagues. And so he was a big advocate of just, play multiple sports, do those kind of things, build athleticism, build activity. Don't worry so much about perfecting your sinker when you're 9. Would you agree with that?
At 9, you need to perfect throwing a strike.
Yeah, that's right.
Personally, as a recruiter in college, I preferred to have football players and basketball players, not just strictly baseball players. The athleticism side of it really was something that caught our eyes when I was in college. But definitely, you should. I don't think personally. Now, I can't make the decision for other people, but I want them to play everything.
Now, tell me a little bit about what County Parks and Recs does to facilitate player safety, not only in baseball but in other sports. What are some measures and some safeguards you put in place to prevent these things like youth burnout and injury?
Well, as far as youth burnout, we offer baseball, football, basketball. So we give them an opportunity to play all the sports in their designated season. We do have a fall season for baseball and softball if that's what the kids want to play. So I guess that would be a safety issue. Some moms don't want them to play football that young, and so we offer baseball for them to play then. As far as coaching, they're required to take all the concussion protocols, the cardiac protocols, and they have to turn all that stuff into us. It has to be on file. So it's something that we definitely bring up in all our coaches' meetings when we talk to them. It's very important to us. We want everybody to play, and we want everybody to play safely.
So, and I know that with your league, because you run all of those leagues, for instance, basketball can't start until football is over. Coaches are expressly told your season begins here. No tryouts before then, no practices before then, such and such. We just got off the phone with Coach McCowan, who gave us really 3 main reasons that the city chose to do a city basketball league. One was he wanted to be more intentionally involved as a high school coach in earlier development, that they wanted to utilize the brand new facility they had at Cleveland High School. And then the third thing was to prevent this youth burnout, that there was some concern that kids are practicing much, playing too much. And in the Cleveland City League, evidently those are going to be limited to maybe 1 or 2 events, whether it's a practice or a game a week. Tell me about the county and how you currently regulate the burnout in the basketball season.
We have a set limit of practices that you're supposed to follow as far as preseason, and then once the season starts, we dial that down. We do that in football and we do that in baseball too. We usually don't play at most 2 games a week basketball. I don't think and when you hit the tournament at the end of the year, you may play more than that in a week. But I think last year because of how many teams we have, it fluctuates year to year. I think last year our regular season, our boys had the most teams, 4th and 5th, and they played 16 or 17 games from November through February. So we don't want them to play too much. We don't want them to practice too much. Understand that to get better at these sports, they have to practice, but they also have to pass. They got to get home and do their homework. So, but we do have rules in place for those things.
Now, I know when I coached, I started the season with a series of practices back to back to get us ready, because you only have like a 2-week window.
Yeah.
Once we started playing, I incidentally would have practice. If there was a downtime, if there was a window, because a lot of times the parents drive. You want to play and practice as much as the parents feel they're getting their value out of the kid playing the sport. And a lot of youth development takes place in practice, not the game. So you definitely want to practice, but you understand time restrictions and things like that. We always were considerate of that. Would you say most coaches are considerate of that in the county league?
Yes, because most of our coaches, well, pretty much all of our coaches are parents. So they have a kid that's got to go home and do homework too, and they have things that they have to take care of outside of coaching basketball. They're volunteers, and we appreciate everyone we get, but I believe they do. And that I'm sure that some of that over practice is case by case, and when that's brought to our attention, we do our best to take care of it. We appreciate them wanting to try to get the kids better, but we also appreciate the fact that their parents want those kids at home a little more often. So, but we do our best to try to curb it as much as we can.
I even know when we would host basketball tournaments that I always kept ours when we hosted one to one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it started about 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and it was done about 4. The 2-3 day things, we just kind of got out of that. But so that was the 3 reasons Coach McCown gave why they developed the city. And I'd asked him the question, well, why eliminate competition with the county schools? And his response, we really didn't say why, but he did say that in the future there might be an opportunity to re-engage in competition between those 2 entities. Tell me a little bit about how Cleveland youth basketball has affected your county league this year.
Well, I mean, it's 5 teams within each grade that it's basically taken out of our schedule. It hasn't affected our league any, as we're going to do what we've always done in the past, and we do have a handful of what would be city schools that are going to participate in our league. They won't have any home games, but if they meet our requirements as far as having enough kids from that particular school, we'll put them in our league and they'll play away games, and we'll do our season just like we always have.
So you're accommodating parents and coaches who want to continue competition with county schools?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As long as they're, like I said, as long as they play within our rules, we can't put teams within our league that have 3 players from one school and 4 players from another and a couple, they have to be, if they're from City School A, all their players have to be from that particular school.
Okay. He mentioned, too, that the reason those teams that are playing in the county league couldn't use the city elementary schools was safety concerns. What was the relationship between the county parks and rec and the city schools in the past with relationship to safety and staffing practices?
Well, I mean, as far as all of our gyms go, of course, we have to work through the principals because that school is the principal's responsibility. We try to make sure our coaches are hands-on as far as making sure the gyms are kept up as best they can when they're in the facilities. They work with the principals. We tried to set up athletic directors within each school to aid in the scheduling and those kind of upkeeps as far as the gym goes, and then of course all the things that we're having the coaches do as far as safety goes, is the protocols that they have to meet. So
now, last but not least, Coach McCown dispelled the rumor that there would be any long-term repercussions for parents who chose to play in the county league. I'm sure that comes as a comfort to you to hear that because a parent or a student chooses to play against county schools, that they wouldn't be penalized. And we appreciate Coach McCowan for saying that on the show, quote, that there would never be a situation where a student would be penalized because of where he played youth basketball. What are those teams from the city leagues? Number one, which teams have approached you from the city that are going to have a county team? And what's the current plan for their practice and game schedule? You mentioned no home games.
Well, I think we have a couple of teams possibly from Arnold boys, 4th and 5th, maybe a 2nd and 3rd. Mayfield going to have a 4th and 5th, and they were working on a 4th and 5th girls. Blythe Bower, possibly a 4th and 5th boys and girls. Where Stewart's going to have a 4th and 5th boys. And then as far as their practice schedules, and they've went out on their own and located gyms within the community here that they can get their 1 to 2 practices a weekend. And then depending on what we have at the end, I may see if I can work out with some of the other county schools if we have some teams that need some spaces, and see if we can't find them a place to practice. Mm-hmm. But they will have to play all away games.
Now, I know that the Boys and Girls Clubs reached out to you in possibility of using their facility to fill a gap or even host a team. What's the nature of the conversation there, or is it not anything you can speak about yet?
They've just told us that that it would be available, and the community center has also told us that we'd be able to use their facilities before they start their basketball season.
And that's a city community center.
Yes, sir. So. And we're actually trying to work with them. We've always encouraged the coaches within our league to, first of all, we're a rec league, and I'm not real happy about the fact that we do have a league that cuts kids. We don't do that in any other sport, and I wish we could find a way to not do it in basketball, but we're kind of handcuffed by the gyms that we have available and stuff like that, and manpower. So
because the team size is smaller in basketball than carrying 18 kids on a baseball team, or even 30 kids or something.
Even in baseball, we carry 12 kids in baseball teams. Sometimes we get up to 14. Basketball, it's 12. You can play with 10. But within baseball, we have 3 parks with 20 fields, and we can handle 100 teams. In basketball, we have to work with those principals because we have to utilize their gym. And we also have people that want to play with their friends that they go to school with and within their school for school spirit and so on. So it's a little bit different, but we are trying to utilize the Community Center League a little more this year. We've spoken with them. We've had B teams in the past or secondary teams. I don't want to put a label on it, but we're going to try to contact everyone that doesn't make a school team, us personally, and put them on a team. So if you had a team from Prospect that had 8 kids that didn't make the 2nd and 3rd girls team, and they want to play, we're going to get them in at the community center together. And if we have some hodgepodge numbers from different schools, we'll try to group them together. But we're going to be a little more hands-on with trying to get them on the court, because at this age, the most important thing, in my eyes, is not winning, it's playing. You're dealing with kids that need to learn to like it first, and then they can start learning how to develop and get better.
Now, tell me about coaches. Have the coaches that have traditionally been coaching at the city schools, have they remained with the county league, or are they going to coach in the city league?
Some of those schools that are going to have teams within our league are the same coaches that have been there, and they wanted to stay within our league, finish out their term, I guess. Some of the ones that haven't come back, I don't really know. I can't. I don't have a whole lot of information on the City League.
Well, I believe it's clevelandyouthhoops.com, and we can get some information there. But tell everybody when tryouts are for the County League, and do they just get that information at their individual schools?
The girls have been holding tryouts for a couple weeks now. The boys are actually able to start tryouts tomorrow. We tried to work within the end of our football season to get them a little bit earlier start. We've tried to set it up so it doesn't collide with our playoffs in football, which start next week. But so the boys can try out tomorrow. Some of the girls' teams are already together, and they'll all be practicing, I'm sure, by the 3rd of November. Our Super Bowl's the 2nd, so they're trying to get the early jump.
Yeah, they want to get on it. Well, Andy, thank you for coming in, telling us about the County Basketball League. It's your website is BradleyParks.com. BradleyParks.com. You can go to BradleyParks.com. You can get information on all the sports there at BradleyParks.com. Wish you the very best this season. I hope that between the City League and the County League, that kids can just learn sportsmanship and how to play ball with each other and not get caught up in anything political.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Well, this is kind of I don't know. I feel good. I don't normally feel good after an episode with Rob Alderman in the room. I feel good today. You know, I feel like we've talked to the people who know best about both of these entities, and I feel like parents have an option. I'm real happy to hear the rumor squashed that there won't be long-term repercussions. And I mentioned on our last show that circulated with football a year ago, and having known and worked with Coach Carroll at Cleveland Middle School, I really had a hard time believing that was the case. It really hasn't proven to be the case. So I guess the good thing for parents is you have a choice. You have a choice. If you like your coach that's coached at your school and you've liked participating and playing against county schools, you have that option. And if you feel that you want to do something that's a little more low-key and hands-on with the Cleveland High School coach using the new Cleveland gym and stuff, you can go that route too. Now, your kid, though, you're at a city school. Is that right, Josh?
Arnold.
You're at Arnold.
One of the Arnold teams that's going to be playing with the county.
So you're staying with the county. What prompted your decision to stay with the county?
It wasn't my decision.
It wasn't? Okay.
It was the coaches, Coach Matt Brown, coaches. Arnold.
So you chose your coach more than anything.
Yeah. Well, he gave us the opportunity and said, this is what we're thinking about doing. I said, I love it. Let's do it. And then I found out that we can't use Arnold's gym. And that's the only thing I don't understand. I've not got a clear answer on that. Why? Basically, we're eliminating more gyms through this process for these kids that want to play.
The only answer we got from Coach McCown was that there was some safety concerns. He said about staffing of those.
I'll go on what I've coached. You've coached. I've been at Arnold. I've been given the key. We took responsibility. We signed the forms, and we were responsible. We cleaned it up, tried our best to clean it up. Sometimes we didn't do a great job. That's the only thing I ever heard was we left too much trash. But anyways.
And my parents did a great job of cleaning at Michigan. We took, and I'll tell you, we raised money every year through the team, and every year that we could, we gave money back to refinishing the floor at that school. I never had a problem with the principal, never had a problem with the AD. We had a wonderful relationship at our school.
That's just what I'm yet to grasp as far as the reasoning behind that. So
I don't know. If you have comments at Man Up Talk, manuptalk@gmail.com. Hit us on Facebook, facebook.com/manuptalk. We've got a great show coming up tomorrow. We're actually going to have Steve Watson of the Learning Channel fame and Monster House coming in.
TLC.
He's coming in, and he's a pretty liberal guy. We'll probably get into politics a little bit. Special thank you to Home Mortgage Solutions and Bliss Day Spa and the Venue Creekside for their support of this program. Patronize those people. What we want you to know today as you go out, we want you to man up this week and actually take a note with your child on, we talked about youth safety and development on this program. Watch your kid. If they're playing baseball, look at pitch counts, look at repetition. Make sure your child is not getting burnt out. Special thank you to Talk 101.3 The Buzz for the simulcast, WTNB here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And that's all we've got for today, folks. See ya.